What's up, you guys? This is Rob from Gay Guy Plays, and today on the Snapshot, we've got our hands on a new switch hitter when we take a look at the Stradavar Prime. Now, as always, when it comes to Prime weapons, I'm going to go ahead and leave a link in the description box down below as to their drop tables and what relics they come from, because you guys know that I cannot stay on top of everything that gets vaulted and unvaulted. Just do be aware that this will require Mastery Rank 12 to craft. However, if you want to skip all of that and you've got some money to burn, you can always pick this up in Equinox Prime Access while it is still available. Alrighty, so let's take a look at what's changed between the Prime variant and the original Stradavar. So as you can see right here, we're going to kick things off with the primary, and its accuracy has received a very nice boost from 14.3 up to 25. Now, let me tell you, this, for a fully auto weapon, it just doesn't move. It just feels so freaking nice. Now, its critical chance has not changed whatsoever, but its critical multiplier has gotten a 0.6 boost, so 2.0 to 2.6 times. Its magazine has gone up from 65 to 90, which is very, very nice for full autos because you're just not spending so much time reloading. It's great for sustained DPS. And its base damage has received just like a breath of extra damage. Not more, just a little. Moving along, we'll take a look at its secondary fire mode, which is its semi-auto. So as you can see right here, the accuracy has gotten an increased boost from 28.6 to 66.7. Now, I'm gonna ask you guys a question. I feel like there comes a point where you have so much accuracy on a weapon where you just can't tell the difference. But who knows? Maybe it's like you can see more when you zoom in or something. But for me, I'm just like, it already doesn't move, so it's fantastic. The critical chance has gone up from 28% to 30%, and it's just like a 2% bump. I'm like, you can give the Stradavar a little bit more love, maybe a 7% bump, you know what I mean? Bring it up to 35, feel nice and juicy, but guess not, but I'm gonna ask for it if I can. Anyway, the critical multiplier is actually a little bit larger than the semi-auto. It's gone from 2.0 times to 2.8 times, so you get even more damage there. However, the fire rate has gone down from 5.0 to 3.33, which I'm not the biggest fan of. Now, its magazine has gotten that 90-point treatment, and it's actually got some built-in punch-through, which is great if you're going to be fighting a lot of enemies in a crowd, so that you don't waste as much ammo, and you can get that high-damage round to go through multiple targets. Moving along, we have its status chance has received a bump from 16% up to 22%, and then the most interesting part here is we've actually got a shuffle of IPS. So in the original variant, you can see that puncture was its most prominent damage type, but here in the Prime variant, it's actually going to be slash, which does pair up with that nice little status boost that we see in there. It's also got a little bit more extra base damage. Alright, so one of the things that we will be chatting about in a little bit is how this thing compares to the Tiberon Prime, because there are definitely a lot of similarities. But let's go ahead and take a look at this baby in action. As you can see, this thing barely moves when you shoot it. It's crazy. And with a good enough build, I mean, you can take out 165 Bombard fairly easily. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't feel like its full auto is actually its best. I was playing around with it and I was like, okay, like, it's not bad. And I was comparing damage numbers from this and of course the Tiberon, and I was like, I don't know, like, it doesn't feel bad, but it's not necessarily the best thing out there. We do also have to keep in mind that when I compare the Stradavar to the Tiberon Prime, that the Tiberon Prime is Mastery Rank 14, while the Stradavar is only a Mastery Rank 12. So it's not supposed to match up in power when it comes to that. But you know, whenever you get a new weapon, you're always kind of like, I want it to be the very best, like no one ever was. So you guys have kind of seen how this performs with the full auto. Now let's go ahead and swap out to the semi-auto. For those of you guys who are a little bit newer, you just use your secondary fire and it will swap, and you'll see it down in the corner. It'll go auto, semi. So this is where I actually feel like the weapon really just shines. Like that you can't tell me that didn't feel good, and that didn't feel a significant amount faster than the semi-auto version. I mean, the full auto version, sorry. That felt like it just breezed through that, and of course it's because we're getting bigger slash procs. We have a bigger critical multiplier that kind of like works along with that. And you also have to be aware, this does have built-in punch through, so if there are enemies behind them as well, boom! They get shot through, which is very, very nice. So those are the two fire modes. Kind of disappointed that we didn't see something unique and different from this weapon. But I guess that's that's what happens and to make other weapons feel more special. You know, you kind of have to get through some, I don't want to call the Stradavar a garbage weapon, but you know, you kind of have to go through some duds to really find the ones with the really cool special effects. And as you can see, even though this might not be the top of the heap, this is definitely well performing. So let's go ahead and take a look at the build that I'm running with it at the moment. Now, the one thing that I do want to point out, and I have to like check my facts in a second because I'm going to feel really, really dumb when it comes to this, because I could feel stupid as all hell, but this is going to be your basic critical build. We do have Hunter's Munitions on there, and we are using Rime rounds. Now, for those of you guys who are curious, what we can go ahead and try to do is we can swap out maybe like Vigilante Armaments, toss on an Argon Scope, and see if that feels any better, which it might. So that's really going to be up to you. And again, it's your build. Whatever you want to do with it is what you want to do with it. I'm going to go ahead and hit up full auto real quick with this variant in. And as you can see, we are getting a lot more crits and we are getting a lot more slash procs. But we are still using a lot of ammo when it comes to that. Let's go ahead and try it in semi-auto mode, and then we'll swap everything over to corrosive and see how that plays. So as you can see right here, oh, I just like the fact that you're not shooting as much. I feel like I already prefer the multi-shot variation better, but really, I don't think that there's that much of a drastic difference between the two, just in case you guys want to play around with it. I'm going to stick with the multi-shot. We'll go ahead and toss corrosive on real quick so you guys can get a little bit of a variance in your build and see exactly how it feels for you. Then we'll have a bit of a chat about this and Stradavar Prime, not Stradavar Prime, and what is the other one called? Tiberon Prime, because that is really its big competitor. And as you guys can probably tell, I went ahead and crunched the numbers, and the Tiberon Prime still does come out on top of this. But really, like I was saying, almost when it comes to the accuracy, you know, there comes a point where the accuracy is so high where you can't really tell if your weapon is swaying anyway, and that's kind of the way that I feel between the Stradavar and the Tiberon. The only thing that I'm missing is I really like burst fire weapons. So for me, what I'm looking at is kind of like, well, Stradavar is good, it's pretty, and as you can see right here, I think I'm going to be preferring the viral, because we had to use an entire clip on that. I'm sticking to viral, and again, for a lot of us, it's common sense to stick to viral, but some people out there are like, well, you should try it with corrosive, and I'm like, we'll cover all of our bases here. So let me give you guys the findings that I have taken a look for when it comes to the Stradavar versus the Tiberon. And to be completely frank with you, the Tiberon basically outclasses the Stradavar in every way, shape, and form when it comes down to its performance. But again, really, what are we fighting that is going to make us have that much of a challenge? Look, I'm typing it in for you guys because I know that some people just get really, really angry. It's, I believe, do I have the same build on it? So as you guys can see right here, I do have the same build as I did on the previous one. The one thing that I wanted to point out, though, is if you notice, the Stradavar does have a higher riven disposition than the Tiberon. So if you get an insane riven for it, I feel like they're not so far off that the Stradavar couldn't pick up the pace and kind of keep in line with the Tiberon when it comes to ribbon disposition. So do keep that in mind. Now, I've got Warframe Builder up next to me so that I can give you guys some results real quick. And basically, let me just break it down for you. When it comes to the, I believe this is the full auto mode, on the Tiberon Prime, it basically out-damages, it out-damages the Stradavar in every single way except for sustained DPS. The Stradavar Prime has a little bit more sustained DPS when it comes to that. However, when it comes to the semi-auto mode, let me go ahead and swap that through. The only thing that this beats, so the Tiberon's semi-auto mode has higher burst damage and has higher sustained damage, but the straight up damage per bullet is going to be a bit higher when it comes to the Stradavar Prime. So just keep that in mind. Again, when I look at these numbers, they're not that far off at all, and I definitely feel like the gap can be bridged between the two. It's like maybe 1,000 points of damage. And the right ribbon can really sway you one way or the other. So let's go ahead and take a quick look at how this performs, and we'll close things out with, I'm very curious to see how you guys feel about these two. Has it come to the point where you guys kind of feel like it doesn't really matter? Like at a certain point when two weapons are so close that you're not even worried about it anymore? Or is it the kind of the point where you want to crunch every single number to make sure that you have the best of the best? Now, if I'm going to be honest with you, if it came down to which weapon I would prefer to use, I would probably stick with the Tiberon Prime just because I'm lazy and I like burst fire. That's the only thing that I can say, but the Stradavar does have a bigger magazine, so if that's kind of like a thing to you, you guys can play with that, because this one's only a 42 magazine, while the Stradavar does have a 90 magazine. Plus, the model is better. Also, toss that down in the comments below. Which one do you prefer, the Tiberon Primes model or the Stradavar Primes model? And also, are they close enough that if you get a good ribbon, do you not care? Put that down there as well. So that about does it for me for now. Leave all of your feelings down in the comments below, and don't forget we do have that Equinox Prime giveaway. I'll go ahead and leave a link down there in the description as well. So as always, love somebody, hurt nobody, and touch your body. I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.